What we're going to talk about is hollowing from a, that's your lathe, spindle, something like this maybe, with a small hole. Okay? And it doesn't matter the shape. What we're going to talk about applies for everything from a Christmas tree ornament to the things Dan Chevalier does that are this long, hollowed out. So the rules or the tips are kind of the same for everything. So keep that in mind. The biggest thing is the tools are different. You do a Christmas tree ornament, you got a little tool, you do what Dan does, and they're what, 1.5 inch bars? 1 1/4 inch?
Yes.
You know, they're huge. So, you know, so what you're determining is the size of the vessel and the size of the hole. Other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. Okay? It's intimidating. I've had 2 people already tonight say, I'm just afraid to stick a tool in there. And it is the first time you do it, but nothing bad's going to happen, usually.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
So what we do to start out with this is you get your shape. Okay, so you put on the lathe to get a rough shape, whatever you want. Not a rough shape, but it ought to be pretty close, because now you're going to come in and get your final thickness roughly. So what I do is I start out and bore a hole determined by the size of the piece. I make it as small as I can usually, that makes sense. And usually you can drill it out with a Forstner bit. What I kind of like to do is I've taken a spade bit and just ground the tip off and use that. And that goes in, you pull it out, there's a bunch of sliders here, you know, and you keep doing that, and you've eliminated the nub at the bottom, and you have your size, and it'll wobble. It's not going to go in there straight, it'll wobble, but who cares? You're going to take care of that in a minute anyway. So anyway, that's one way to do it, or a Forstner bit, either way is fine. So you have this drilled here, and then the next step would be to use a straight tool to widen this hole. So what you want to do is start and start widening that. And you'll use the straight tool as long as you can. This is like the one we made. We had that tool making day a couple years ago. You know, that's just a straight tool with the scraper on it, sharpened. Are you looking at these? I think that's even on. But you know, go in and scrape. This is almost always going to be ingrain this way. So when you're inside, you're always turning side grain. So it's not that hard to do. Okay? So you're scraping. So just like with anything else, you want to be above or at center. So looking at it in here, you know, if this is center, you want your tool to be here or above. So as the object is turning, it's going away from your scraper. Down here, it's coming into it. So you want to be at or above center, and you just start doing it. Okay? So I'm not going to do a whole lot of this because there's more fun stuff later on. And you can't see what I'm doing yet. This is one time that we have no advantage over Michael. Okay, so this hole in this one's ridiculously big. My tools that I use most of the time are these Trent Bosch, and they're 3/4 inch, and they're pretty good size. And I kind of wanted you to see this. But, you know, this is what they are.
Garden hoe or leg tool?
It is the coolest thing, I'll tell you what. It just makes you feel like a man when you pick this up. That's why I brought it. So anyway, I wanted to straighten it in. Okay, so we're going to come in with the straight tool. So we're trying to widen what we drilled out. And the straight tool is the easiest to use. And then you get to a point where the chips, you're starting to cut chips instead of the piece. So you start to get vibration and you have to get that out of here. So, you can blow it out with a air compressor, which shoots it all over everywhere. You can suck it out with a shop vac. And since we don't have any, I just use this, especially for Christmas tree ornaments. You can take this thing, blow it out, get rid of it. Now I got a story to tell you. Zane Kaler was showing me how to do Christmas ornaments. And, you know, we're doing that, and he's got a bunch of stuff here. And he says, you can go ahead and take that straw and blow that out if you want to. So I took the straw and blew it out, and of course it came out all over my face. He laughed, thought that was just funny as hell. So I got this little thing, and it works pretty well. You don't suck through it, you blow through it.
Where did you ever take such an item from?
I don't know, it came with
Basically,
some kind of soft
restaurant
drink or somewhere, yeah.
The salsa.
I'm sure. So, okay, as you get into this, especially with bigger pieces, your chips, when you get down to here, and this is opened up, your chips are going to end up in here because of centrifugal force. You have to keep emptying that. And another thing I do is I made a couple little scrapers. I don't guess they're scrapers. Shovels, I don't know what they are. That I can just reach in and pull stuff out. Because when you're really doing this, it's bigger pieces, it's chips. And if your wood's at all wet, of course, you know, then you can drag it out and then blow it out and so forth. But you have to do that. Because when you get to the curved piece, what happens is you're down here cutting, all your chips are here, and you can't get your tool out. Literally can't get it out. Blankenship called me one day and said, Don, I got my thing, I'm doing a hollow form, I can't get my tool out. And I said, Michael, the only way I know to do that is take it off the lathe, beat it with the hammer, and take it out. He said, oh, Jack, he says, it's a beautiful piece of wood, I'm going to keep it. You can figure out a better way to do it, let me know. Hour later he called and said, I said, you got it out? And he said, yeah. I said, great, what did you do? Took it off the lathe and beat it with a hammer. So, you know, seriously, it builds up quickly. More quickly than you think. You feel like you're always blowing chips out, and you have to stop. But what happens is you get in here and it feels good and you're really rolling and you can feel like you're cutting, and all of a sudden you can't get that thing out of there. Ever happen to you, Dan?
No, but I'm careful not to put it.
It's a mess, and you can't get it out. So, okay. So as you're doing this, the main thing about this whole deal is knowing where the tip of this tool is. Okay? And I don't know really, just some experience with that. Sometimes I put tape here. I go to the bottom and I put tape so I know I'm at the bottom. And I'm going to show you a couple of electronic ways to do it. But that's the key. To be in, at or above center, flat. You don't want to be digging up, you know. And that's why I like to do it by hand. I like to be able to feel what this is doing. Okay. So also as you're doing this, you need a way to know how thick you are. There's different things for that. You know, you have these things like that show you. Todd was looking at this earlier. This is ridiculously too big, but I made this, and it's can you see this black here? When it's against the edge, the black is at 0, if you will. So when you put this in, it's really too big to work that well. When you get this in, there's your how thick it is. Okay. Now, if you make one of these, and this is just, you know, whatever this is that you get and bend, you could make this so much smaller, it would be so much more accurate, because now it's pretty flimsy. But it's kind of neat. And then this one is really, this is the Dave Ellsworth. This is the one that he uses all the time. He demonstrates with it. And when it comes right down to it, it's probably the best. You have a distance here, whatever you want to make it, and you put that in, and that you can see your distance. When that gets to be out here, you're getting awful thin. When it's like that, obviously it's thick. So you just let it relax, and you can move that around. It'll go either way, depending on where you are in your bowl or your hollow form, and you can see. So, and that's about as easy as there is to make, right there. And it works really, really well. But it's important because you just need to know. On this, I can feel that. On a Christmas ornament, maybe you can, but your hole shouldn't be that big that you need to put your finger in it on a Christmas ornament. So you can feel it, but the best way to do it is really to have something like that. Where you're going to come through, if you do, is going to be here, down in this area, because you're able to come straight in with that straight tool, and you're trying to get this out, and you just go through your low spot here. Another place is right here. You'll never come out here, because that's the hardest place in the world to reach anyway. So, this is, you're trying to get it, but these places are dangerous for coming out, so you want to make sure to measure in those. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of tools. I have more hollowing tools than I do gouges by far, and I don't know why, but I just do. There's that many available. Everybody makes them. Of course, everybody's making gouges too, but they're definitely available.
Don, what's the limit as to reaching off the end of the tool rest into the piece?
Well, Dan's going 18 inches.
Well, I think I did 2 of them. One of them was about 17.
That's
and
a long way.
ways, and it was a big bar, and I had the advantage the hole was big enough I could even turn the tool rest so I could get the tool rest in as far as possible. But it's a lot of bounce. And you couldn't, well, I wouldn't say you couldn't, but if you didn't have the setup, it'd be awful hard to do because it really, a lot of vibration.
With these 3/4 inch Bosches, I'll go maybe 7 or 8, and that's starting to get, like Dan says, pretty bouncy.
Do you have a hollowing system, Don? I think Dan's got it. Dan, you've got one, don't you?
I have a Jamieson that I rigged up myself. I'm going to show you one in a minute.
Okay.
I brought one. This is a Jamieson, this is Mel's. Dan has a Gizmo, which is the premier. His is articulating where the arm swings, on itself. And these are called captured systems. We'll talk about that in a minute. But frankly, I've used Dan's. I've used John Anderson's, which was this Jamieson. I've used Michael Blankenship's Trent Bosch, and the one that I've made, and I just like doing it by hand. I'd much rather do it by hand, to a certain extent. Again, you can get to a size that you can't do it by hand. You really need to have the support, but if I'm doing something, I like doing it by hand. Matt?
You stick a bowl gouge in there or anything to go for it?
I stick a bowl gouge in about that far. And that's to get this lip and get this round. And that's as far as I'll usually go with a bowl. On something with a small hole.
So you're doing all that in a scraping actually?
Yes. Yeah.
These same principles apply with segmented turnings, or are they different principles?
With a hole like a small hole,
Yeah,
I think it's the same.
scraping the inside.
Joe, you could answer that better
Yes.
than me. Yeah.
Just use scraper on the inside.
Yeah. And that's all side grain too, right?
Yes. Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, so it would be the same. The way to practice this is make something like this and just make a big hole. And, or even when you're doing a bowl, get out your scrapers and do it. Use those tools and get a feel for it. It's not that, especially something like that. That's nothing. Anybody can do this. So, any other questions? Okay. All right, so this this hollowing system,
Screen it all.
I don't know how far back he's going.
okay, this is the Jamieson, Lyle Jamieson makes this, and it's called the captured system because you can see why. Okay, so everything I said still applies. You want this at center or above. And be sure to get this on film because if it blows up, I want everybody to know.
That's right.
Damn, Bill, that almost makes me want one. That's how it works, okay? What this has is this little cup on it, which is it's still scraping, but it's got a cutting action too.
So how deep can you go with it, all the way back to the?
How deep with this thing?
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't go any deeper with this than you could holding it by hand. Maybe you could a little bit.
I think you said there are 10 inches on that 3/4 inch, and the inch part you can go 18 to 20, I thought he said. I'm almost positive. So I had that system, and that's what I remember you were saying.
I just don't like fussing with it. It is easy. I mean, you can see what I was doing, and that's what Jamieson says. I think his slogan is put the fun back in it or something
Yeah.
like that. Because it'll beat you up holding this thing. You know, I mean, it's pretty heavy when you're standing back here like this, and it's work. But I just like to be able to feel it. Oh, another thing is, you see when it's sitting on the rest like this, a curved piece, you can't push it down. But if you get on this side of it, that's where you're going to get your torque and you're going to get messed up. So you have to have it on the straight part, and then it's no different than the straight. Okay, now where you get into trouble with these, and don't ask me how I know this, is you're coming in here and you're concentrating like crazy, you're attentive, you know exactly what you're doing, you know where the thing is, and it's time to take it out to clear the chips, and you relax. And this back edge catches the back here, flips this sucker down, and now you're in heart attack mode. So, you know, you don't relax until it's out or the thing stops.
Yeah, you have more catches when you pull it out than you do.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay, so to add to this system, you see this bar up here. One of the things we've talked about is knowing where your tip is. Okay, so what that is a spot for a laser that goes in here. And it matches up with the
Matches up with the color.
it matches with the cutter if I can match it up.
Lose your Allen wrench.
Show them how are you going to show them how you line that laser up at the point? Maybe you can get it on the overhead camera.
What's it look like?
It's showing your tip.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, so
This could be interesting, guys. We're still recording, right? Let me check. Like that, done? Yeah.
okay, so when you're using the laser, every now and then, I'm gonna trip on this again. Every now and then, as your angle changes, you need to change that distance between the cutter and the laser beam as this moves. In this method, you don't have to do that. So what we do here is the camera set up. Now remember, what we're doing is I've set my laptop right here and my little camera set up, and so I'm looking straight at it instead of like this. So what you do is you take, there's the tip of the doodad. Now is this going to fall off? Is that pretty good on here?
It felt pretty good.
Okay. So now what happens is you bring this in, and you can see right where the, okay? Why isn't that where it's supposed to be? Is it on the thing?
Yeah.
It's not here on the camera. What? Oh, it is, okay. It's not on the camera, okay, cool. So now, you don't have to change anything. You can see right where your tip is. You make that a little bit bigger than the picture, or when you do that, so you have it all the way around. What Bosch does is he takes a Sharpie and right on the screen, we can't see it now, makes a circle around that tip at that same distance. So no matter where he is, he can see the edge of the bowl or the piece, and it's the same distance. So there you have it. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Thanks for the camera.